Marvel's Avengers is a game that the potential of what it may be in future greatly eclipses the sum of its parts and what it actually is at the moment. It's a game that's been out for 7 months, but there's still a ton of work that needs to be done on it. Now, this leads perfectly into Outriders, a game which isn't actually out for another 5 weeks, but it's got so many design choices that have been implemented into it that fans and players of Marvel's Avengers have been asking for the last 7 months, and we still don't actually have them. It really is quite staggering when I've done this video, putting the two side by side and seeing the differences in them. So what we're going to do in this video is we're going to run over the top 10 things that Outriders gets right that Marvel's Avengers got wrong. Now, before we jump in and run over them, I will say I love both games. I'm the kind of person where I'm able to like more than one game at a time, so this in no way is dissing Marvel's Avengers, but I think we can all agree it's a game that could certainly do it a lot better. But let's jump in and let's check all this out. We start off then with crossplay, a feature that fans of Avengers have requested for quite some time, and if the PC player base, which drops as low as between 300 and 500 concurrent players at a time, if that player base is actually to survive, it's something that I would say is essential. Now, Outriders offers full crossplay support. You can see all the different platforms there, so you've got Steam, Epic, PS4, PS5, Stadia, Xbox Series X and S, and then Xbox One as well. Now, on top of that as well, not only does it offer crossplay, the crossplay is available in the demo for the game as well. So yeah, the fact we've not got it after 7 months in Marvel's Avengers and the demo for this game has it is just really mind blowing for me. We then move on to the crafting system that will be available in the main game for Outriders. It's not available in the demo, but when it comes to loot-based games, I feel you really do need a crafting system as a fail-safe. So let's say you spend a few days grinding, you don't get the item you're looking for, at least you're getting currencies and you're getting upgrades, so you can actually upgrade your gears in other ways. Is exceptionally important. According to the last developer stream from Marvel's Avengers, I believe even with Gear 2.0 they aren't looking to implement a crafting system. Exceptionally disappointed with that. But if we quickly look at some of the options that are available here in Outriders, or will be available when the game launches, you can improve the rarity of gear, you can raise the attributes, that would be for example the health, the healing and the skill leaks you see on this piece of gear here. You can mod your gear, so what you have is you have mods which are the equivalent of perks in Marvel's Avengers. Now you can actually swap out one perk and put in a new one from a library of perks, which is absolutely amazing, something I would love to see in Avengers, and it would really help with that NG. You can swap variants, that is relevant to your weapons, so you've got different versions of weapons, ones that will fast fire, ones that might be full auto for example, so you can change that there, and then you can level up your gear as well. So if you're near to the level cap, you get a piece of gear which is just maybe one level short, then you can actually upgrade that so that it is an end game piece. So yeah, crafting system is exceptionally important. Don't think it's coming to Marvel's Avengers, which is really disappointing, but hopefully that's something they will actually change their mind about. Next up we have a really simple option here, but one that can make a huge difference when you're playing a loot style game. So you've got an auto loot minimum rarity, so you can actually change what loot your character will automatically pick up in the game. One of the big issues with Marvel's Avengers, of course, you're going through levels, 90% of the loot will actually be your epic rarity, that's your blue items that drop. They'll be completely useless because you can't upgrade them to maximum level, so you'll automatically have to go in and just dismantle them at the end of a stage. So you're picking up gear that there's no chance you're ever going to keep it, whereas if we had a loot toggle such as this, you could have it so you would only pick up epic rarity gear, for example. That would be a huge quality of life upgrade. We're staying on loot for the next two topics here because they are both looter games, so loot is exceptionally important in both of them. Now, what we're actually looking at here is one of the hardest pieces of gear you can farm for Iron Man and Marvel's Avengers. So this is exotic rarity, it's the highest rarity in the game, and this particular item can only be farmed at an absolute maximum of once per week. Now, you look at the top, you've got your stats that boost your character, you've then got your gear perks, but the big problem here is that the gear perks are just stats as well in a different way. The first one is a 20% increase in damage dealt when using a particular ability, and then perks 2 and 3, all they do is actually speed up the use of your abilities. It's something I've criticised Marvel's Avengers for quite some time, that the loot is just stat sticks. With Gear 2.0, I'm pretty certain that's something they will look to change, but let's have a quick look at one of the legendary pieces in Outriders and see what they're doing out the gate with the game in regards to gear. So this here is a level 9 item that I've managed to actually find in the demo myself. So of course at the top of it you've got your regular stats, you're always going to have that on items, and then we've got our mods, which are the equivalent of perks in Avengers. So if we look at the mods here, bearing in mind the ones in Avengers were just flat stat increases, these ones in a way they will increase the amount of damage you do, which in a very roundabout way is increasing your stats, but they do it in a much more exciting way. So the first one we look at is Ultimate Storm Whip. So shots bring down lightning on an enemy, dealing 46 damage. It's pretty awesome to just fire away in this machine gun and you have lightning raining down from the sky. And then the next one is Strigger. That's a 30% of critical damage, that's when you get a headshot, is returned to you as health. So this is just essentially life and hit, but it's a really interesting way of doing it. And mechanics such as this, where items in a roundabout way, as mentioned, they will inevitably always increase the amount of damage you do, but you can do it in interesting game-changing ways, and the perfect example of this is the first perk, the one where you're calling lightning down. So again, something I would love to see in Marvel's Avengers. We finish up here discussing loot and where it actually drops. So at the moment the highest rarity of gear in Marvel's Avengers is exotic gear. So let's say you're looking for a particular item. The only place to get that particular item very well may be the Mega Hives, which is only accessible for that loot once a week, and it can take up to 4 hours to run. Now when you're playing Outriders and the gear drops, it will actually drop from any enemy. It's a higher chance to drop from a chest or an elite, but it could drop from any enemy in regards to your highest rarity of gear, which would be your legendary gear. And this is the farm I'm doing at the moment. I found a boss that I can farm nice and quick, so I've chosen to farm that particular area. I can do it at my own leisure and there's no time gating on it at all. Focus farming can be good if you're looking for a particular item, and hopefully there's maybe a higher rate in certain bosses of certain weapons dropping, but I certainly like the system they've got here, in that you're allowed to farm where you actually want to farm. We move on to abilities next, and Outriders and Avengers are actually very similar. You can both use 3 different skills and you're actually using the same buttons to activate them. It's either your left or right shoulder button and you hold both of them down. Now the difference with Outrider is that each of the characters, and I will admit there's only 4 characters in this, whereas Avengers will have an ever-growing roster, but each of the 4 characters in this, they have 8 different abilities you can actually assign, and what that means is you can only use 3 at a time, so you can slot in and out which abilities you want to use, which opens up a lot of gear options. They have talked about adding additional heroics to characters in Marvel's Avengers, but again, I can only really talk about the current state of the game as it is, and as it is, you're stuck using your 3 different abilities. So once again, fingers crossed it's something they'll change sooner rather than later, and it will really help out with build variety. The next feature we have is one that's been requested for quite some time by players of Marvel's Avengers. Personally, it's a feature that I don't really see the point in it too much. It would be great for players that love to use the photo mode to go back into the campaign and replay the story, but personally it's something I wouldn't do. But as you can see at the moment, Outriders once again in the actual demo version of the game allows you to go back and replay the story, so I definitely did find this pretty funny when I found this particular feature. This next feature here is one that once again has been requested for quite some time by the community for Marvel's Avengers. It is an emote wheel, so you can see you can actually have 8 different emotes that you can use here. Now what's really crazy about the fact that this game offers an emote wheel and Marvel's Avengers doesn't is that in Outriders all the emotes you actually unlock for characters will be free. You unlock them by playing, whereas in Marvel's Avengers you actually purchase them for the store. So in the interest of the game bringing in money, it would make more sense that there was an emote wheel so you could choose different emotes. But yeah, Outriders has it and Avengers doesn't. I'm really scratching my head with this one. So this next screenshot you actually see here is from the matchmaking system that's available in Outriders. So at the moment, again, in demo of the game, when it comes to matchmaking, it's 3 players you have, whereas you have 4 in Marvel's Avengers, but you actually have drop in and drop out co-op, whereas with Avengers what you need to do is you need to set up a lobby before a level. If someone actually gets kicked and that's it, that's them out the level, they won't be able to rejoin, whereas with this you can jump in and join your friends at any time, which is just absolutely incredible. So we have 2 more features to discuss here, so it will actually be 11 rather than 10 that I initially stated, but this one here is that there is an in-game guide available within Outriders. So in Marvel's Avengers you have so many people asking what does your positive and negative status effects do, and some of the tooltips and the loading screens are actually out of date, and they'll tell you certain stats will boost heroics when that's not actually the case, whereas this game has got an incredibly robust in-game guide, and it really just does say how much attention to detail and love they put into the game, that they've spent the time to do this as well. Finishing up, we have one of the most important aspects, I would say, of a looter style game, or a game that may be looking to do updates in future, because Outriders isn't actually a live service game. It's a game that the complete game will be available, but it's still really important the developers communicate. So what you'll be seeing over the next few screens here is a series of tweets the developers put out on the day that the demo went out. So they were tweeting sometimes a few minutes apart with updates for actual players. Now I do know personally Marvel can be an absolute nightmare when it comes to communication and getting anything signed off, so I do feel for the communication side of things when it comes to Avengers, but the difference with the communication for Outriders and Avengers, as you can see at the moment as it stands, is really night and day. So that is what turned out to be the top 11 rather than the top 10 things that Outriders does right that Marvel's Avengers got wrong. Now I'll reiterate once again, absolutely love Outriders, I absolutely love Marvel's Avengers as well. I'm going to look to cover both of them on the channel. I want them both to do really well, and the main purpose of doing this video was really pointing out the fact that I want Marvel's Avengers to get better. If it could get into the state that Outriders is in already 5 weeks prior to launch, then it would be awesome. I would be playing it all the time and I would really struggle to choose which one to actually play. But do let me know what you think of Outriders in the comments below. Let me know what you think about the comparisons I've made today in this video, and if you enjoyed the content, take the time to hit the like, share and subscribe button, and stay safe, and I'll see you all again soon.